Hello, welcome either back to my channel or if you're here for the first time, great to have you with me. I'm Nigel Bailey, landscape photographer. Something relatively simple this morning, quick and easy, little bit of camera maintenance. So if you have been at this game like me for many years, you know all this stuff. Maybe there's one or two little things in here you hadn't thought of, but I doubt it. But if you're relatively new to photography and to handling lenses and that kind of stuff, you might find something interesting here. So if that's for you, then stick with me. So I have recently purchased this Nikon D300 used on eBay, and I also purchased with it two lenses as part of the pack and another additional two lenses. So before I go out shooting with this stuff, I'm going on a trip tomorrow, I want to make sure the lenses are clean. So I thought, why not do a little video on cleaning lenses? Now, this one is a beautiful lens. This is the 17 to 55mm f2.8 DX lens. I used to shoot weddings and this kind of stuff with this type of lens, this exact model. Not this particular lens, but with this model of lens, and it is a beauty. Excuse me, and so I want to look after it. And so the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to remove it from the camera body and immediately put a cap on the camera body because I don't want loads of nasty dust getting in there. And I'm going to inspect the lens visually. So let's take a look at the rear element. I have looked at this before, but just in case there's any new dust in there, I'm going to give it a blow with the blower. So that's the first thing I want to say is, one, do a visual inspection of the rear and front elements of the lens before you even think about touching it. Second, if you can avoid touching it when you clean it by just using a blower, use the blower. So, little visual inspection of the rear element of the lens. In this case, I have looked at it before. I don't want to touch it if I don't need to, and so if it's completely clean, nothing needs doing, don't touch it. If there's a little bit of dust in there, then blow with the blower. And on the basis that I want to touch this as little as possible and risk as little damage to it as possible, you might also want to get a nice clean lens brush. It's a very soft brush, and if there were any little bits in there that hadn't come out with the blower, then just a very light flick on the lens surface and around the edge of it to get anything else out. And if I've dislodged anything there, then another little blow with the blower. Once you're done with that, obviously put it away. Don't touch the hairs because you don't want to get anything on it. Also, before I started this, I washed my hands as well. Obviously in the field you may not be able to do that. Going up the scale from there, so either doing nothing, blowing, brushing, re-blowing it. Then if you are going to touch the lens with some form of cloth or paper, then don't use that cloth or paper with anything for anything else. So I have a number of these that I buy them in bunches of 5 or 6 off Amazon. You get, I think it's half a dozen for £5 or £6, something like that. So just look for lens cleaning cloths, buy them in a pack, and I only use this cloth for cleaning lenses and nothing else, that's it. So I do not use this for drying my equipment. I have another cloth that I would use for that purpose. You might want to use a cloth on your lens if, for example, it's got like water stains on it, if it's got wet and the water is dried on the lens, or you've got a finger smudge on it, something like that. The other thing I might touch the lens with is one of these. So this is a Rizzler paper of that type. And these are the non-flavoured ones. I am not a smoker and never have been, but these are the plain Rizzler cigarette papers, and I use these because they are completely lint free. They don't have any kind of oils in them or anything like that, and so they make ideal paper, tissue paper for cleaning a lens. and I'll show you the use of that on the front element. And again, a visual inspection, just catching the light on it as best I can. Blow from the middle outwards. Try not to touch the lens as you do this. Again, visual inspection. If there was anything towards the outside of it that needed physically removing, I'll use the brush first. I can't see anything. If you do use something like a paper or a cloth, then I would tend to lubricate it with a little bit of breath, like this. And I would work in very small circles, just very small circles from the middle outwards. And just work on those parts of the lens that require some form of attention. If it doesn't need attention, leave it be. Okay, that one is sorted. Now, this one, I'm not going to go through all the lenses here because the principles are exactly the same. This one I did notice earlier had a kind of greasy film, and so that was a little bit of breath. And again, working from the middle outwards in small circles. Just takes a little bit of patience. Keep it lubricated. Very, very simple job, really. And again, it's an opportunity just to check for your lens for its condition. Is there any physical damage to it? Is there any kind of condensation inside or fungi inside the lens, that kind of thing. That looks in pretty good condition actually. Again, check the rear element. Give it a little brush, blow rather, and we're good, we're fine there. Now, the other thing I would mention as far as lens care is concerned is making sure that you minimize the risk of getting condensation either on the outside or inside of the lens element. So I have found that, for example, if I'm taking a lens like this out on a night shoot and it's a cold night, and at some point I will have reached dew point and may well then find there's condensation on the lens. And or even if there isn't, if I come from a cold environment into a warm environment, then that change of temperature may well trigger the formation of condensation on the lens. In some situations, particularly on night shoots and with certain lenses like my Nikkor 20mm f1.8 lens, you may even get condensation on the inside of the lens. I'm not going to talk about that further today, that's a whole different ball game really. But in terms of protecting both your camera and your lens from condensation when you come inside, then what I would suggest is that you get yourself a little supply of large Ziploc freezer bags like I do, and then when you come into the warm from the cold, from a cold environment, then put the camera in the bag whilst you're still outside in the cold, expel as much air from it as possible, zip up the bag, and then take it inside, and it'll take about an hour or so to warm up and get to the ambient temperature there, and then you're safe to take it out of the bag, and that way any condensation that forms, it's going to form on the bag and not on your camera. If you're really desperate to get at your memory card before that warm-up time is up, well, just take the memory card out of the camera before you put it in the bag. So that's about it. I hope that's helpful. It's pretty simple stuff. And so quick recap, do a visual inspection on the lens. Don't touch it if you don't need to. Remove any dust with a blower and or with a brush. And then if you've still got anything residual on it in terms of grease marks, water stains, that kind of stuff that need to come off, then use a dedicated cloth or something like these Whistler cigarette papers to remove that. And that's about it. So I hope you found that useful, and I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Do like, subscribe and all those lovely YouTubey things. See ya.